Boy, what a morning. Boy, we're very happy today. We got a special guest, Joe Morrissey, Fighting Joe Morrissey. Those of you in Florida and Washington, D.C., you don't know who he is. Joe Morrissey is one of the most noted criminal lawyers in America. He is based in Richmond, Virginia. At one time, he had won like 58 cases in a row. He's got an unbelievable record, and he knows what he's doing. His nickname is Fighting Joe Morrissey. Now, I had to text him at home today, and his wife, Myrna, who I knew was up with the kids, and I know Joe gets up early. Joe's in the middle of a trial, and he said he'd give us 5 minutes to break down this Giuliani thing. That's what friends do for each other. They're always there. Joe, I know you're busy. You're in the middle of a big trial. You pulled away. Thanks for being with us.
I'm happy to do it, and hope the weather is beautiful down in North Florida, and you're also reaching out to an area of the country that Myrna and I love, and that's the Savannah, Charleston area. So kudos to your expanding network, and we got a couple minutes to discuss this situation with Daniels and the president. Let me give you my take on it, okay?
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. First of all, let's just look at the facts. Fact one is that the president reported and stated categorically, okay, that he did not know about the arrangement with Stormy Daniels. He did not authorize the payment. He did not make any payment. That it was Cohen that did it on his own. That is out there in his own words. Now, what do we have yesterday? Giuliani says the opposite. He says that Trump repaid personal attorney Michael Cohen for the $130,000 payment to porn star Daniels. Now, at first blush, people look at it and they go, gosh, there's a disconnect there. They're not on the same page. Wrong. That was not a slip-up by Giuliani. He knew exactly what he was doing. Here's what's going on. There was a raid on Cohen's office. This flat denial, I didn't know about the $130,000, is not going to be able to be maintained. Accordingly, they are getting ahead of the story, and Giuliani meant exactly what he said. Trump repaid the money. Look at what he said. He funneled it through the law firm. So why are they doing this? They are not looking for credibility now. They are thinking lawyer-like, I want to avoid criminal culpability. Am I clear on that point?
Crystal clear, Joe. Crystal clear.
That's where they are right now. In other words, we're not concerned that whether people perceive the president as lying when he said he did not know about that. We're past that. We are now looking at to make sure that there is no criminal prosecution and slightly less concerned about a civil election law prosecution. So that's where they are now. Why? Because the federal government now has Michael Cohen's records. All right? They now have Michael Cohen's records. So here's the issue. Then that boils down to this. Was that a campaign contribution? Do you remember the John Edwards situation a few years ago?
Yes.
Running for president, had a child through a mistress, and there was a payment made to that woman. It was almost 7 figures, I believe.
Yes.
And they tried to allege that it was a campaign contribution to buy her silence. Okay, John was ultimately acquitted,
right.
Mistrial, then acquitted. But that's the issue now, and I think that's what they're focused on. Forget it. Trump knew about it. Everybody else before said he probably did. How could he not know about it? But now, yeah, I knew about it, and I was paying the money back. So that's where you stand right now. It's not that complicated.
So I don't think it was a legal act because the John Edwards thing is very well documented. It was a lot more money, and it came directly from a donor, right? This money
Correct.
came from Donald Trump's personal account or his business account, or they're commingled. It didn't come from the campaign account. The Edwards came directly, the payment went directly from a well-known big donor in North Carolina right to the woman. So he got exonerated for that. So that's going nowhere. So let's get back to what you just said, Joe, which is spot on. That they decided, okay, we're going to have to deal with the fact that the president may have lied when he said on the plane no. If I was advising him, I would have said just don't answer those questions. But he said no.
Exactly.
So now
Right,
how do you... If you were advising the president now and he said, okay, Now that it's come out that I was less than forthcoming, now what do? What would your advice be to President Trump right now?
Okay, first of all, there will be no more tweets about this, okay? That stops, okay? Here's the message, okay? His attorneys will speak for him. We've now got and the message is clear. It was a non-disclosure agreement, also known as an NDA. Let me be perfectly clear. NDAs are perfectly legal. Happens all the time, okay? You might think it's unseemly that somebody had an affair or somebody did this, but it happens frequently, particularly among the wealthy, athletes, stuff like that happens. So an NDA is okay. It's okay for Trump to have written the check himself. Here's Stormy. Here's $130,000 from my personal account. Be quiet. Nothing wrong with that legally whatsoever. Okay? Also, nothing wrong with paying that money from Trump personal account to lawyer to make payment. That's the message. Okay?
Period.
Now, he can still say, I didn't have a sexual relationship with her, but I didn't want her accusations to cloud the waning days of the election. Okay? That's okay. You know what? It probably should have been stated from the very beginning, or say nothing. But you can't. He mucked up the waters, the president did, by saying, don't know anything about it, don't know anything about the $130,000, That's not true.
This all gets down now. There's no legal jeopardy. There's no legal act. It now all gets down to a one-word answer the president said, kind of like Clinton when he said, what is, right? When he was asked a question on Air Force One, shouted out, instead of going to the bathroom, he says, no. So now he's got to reconcile that, or do you recommend he just ignores it?
I would have no problem whatsoever if his lawyer said, listen, he misspoke when he said that, but then that's it. And let's be clear that I think his legal team needs to make it clear that the money was paid for an NDA, and it was paid with personal funds, not campaign money. That's it. And then if that's the case, John, there is no prosecution. There's nothing that can be suggested that election money was used to pay for somebody's silence. This also could have been avoided if at the very beginning the lawyer said, "Listen, I'm a friend of Melania's. This was embarrassing. I paid the money, or the president paid me, and we paid her just so that she would not be making these false allegations." Fine, say that. But folk get in trouble, John, when you start parsing words, and there's and now it's clear there was a misstatement. Many people will say is a lie by Trump, that he knew nothing about it. Well, he did. Okay, but that's a perception. That's a credibility problem, which, let me tell you, is not at the top of the list of the president's agenda right now. It's more, let's contain this and let's control any potential criminal blowback. That's what they're doing right now.
Okay, and
can I just say this too?
Yes, please.
And I said it. They did the same thing with Clinton. They said it now. Maybe I'm the only man in the world that believes this. Okay, the only person in the world. But let me tell you something. I don't care. And John, for your viewing audience, I'm a Democrat. Okay, I don't care about a politician's what he's doing. It might be unseemly, and it might be wrong, and it might be immoral, it might be unchristian, unseemly, a lot of uns. But I want him focusing on running the country. Can we get these folk released from North Korea prisons right now? Can we have an agreement with North Korea that maybe prevents more nuclear armament? That's what I want him focusing on, and not every single day. I'm not really interested in his bedroom adventures. I'm really not. I just said it. I feel better that I've just said it. Well,
Joe, you and I are in total agreement with that, and I could care less, too. I've been saying it on CNN and other networks and my radio show forever. Nobody cares. I don't care what he did. If he did or he didn't, it's between him and Melania. It has nothing to do with me, and I don't judge. And 13 years ago, he can do whatever he wants. So the bottom line is here, I agree with you 100%. Laura Ingraham last night was stunned by it, and she said they're not on the same page. I don't think she's thought it through. I said at 6 a.m. when I got on, there's no question that this is a coordinated effort. Rudy Giuliani knew exactly what he was doing. They know the information's coming out. So you get it out. So we're going to deal with it for 3 days, and then who cares?
Yes. So you're right. It was absolutely he said exactly what he meant to say, because we go back to the point the federal government already has that information. Hey, listen, man, I got a jury that starts in 46 minutes. I just got 3 kids off to school. One is still crying in the background. So let me hustle to get to court. John, always a pleasure speaking with you, and congrats on your expanding audience across the country.
Joe, how many trials have you now won?
Yeah, it was 54 jury trials in a row that I won. 54. And you know what, John? I'm going to win another one this morning.
54 jury trials in a row?
You call me back and listen, it's been a 3-day jury trial. I had the witness on the stand yesterday for 4 hours. You call me back and I'll say either I won or I lost. Call me at the end of the week and I'll let you know.
We're going to have you on.
It's going to go into next week.
We're going to have you on to talk about, but I tell you this, if you're in a pinch, you want one phone number in that phone, and that's Joe Morrissey. Let me just tell you, you got to get it.